This time, it's all about hotel ruins. Are you ready to face the fear? I have a story that I can't forget even if I wanted to, drawn from my own experiences. It happened 4 years ago, in the summer, when my friend N and I decided to go camping in Y Prefecture by car. Being just the two of us guys, we decided to go all out with a real camping experience, so we set up our tent on a riverbank a bit deep in the mountains. The river looked promising for fishing, filled with plenty of fish, so while we were fishing, we got to know a local older man who had also come to fish. We chatted about various things. After a while, the man pointed to a building that looked like a ruin a short distance away and said, "That place used to be a hotel for tourists until not too long ago, but it went under because it didn't get any customers. Now, it's been left to ruin. However, since beds and such were left as they were, young couples often come here during this season to do indecent things. Just a bit further up there's an auto camping site too." As dusk fell, the man left and went home. We started a fire, enjoyed a meal of the fish we caught, and some barbecue we had bought in town. After cleaning up, we spent some time drinking beer and chatting about nothing in particular. It was just past 12:30 a.m. when N suggested, "Hey, remember the ruins of that hotel the older guy mentioned during the day? How about we check it out?" For a moment, I wondered what the two of us would do in such a place. But then I quickly understood what N was hinting at. The local man had mentioned, during this season, young couples often come here to do indecent things. Thinking about it calmly, it's not something one would normally consider doing, but perhaps it was the slight buzz from the alcohol, or perhaps just youthful curiosity. We found ourselves driving towards the ruins of the hotel saying, "All right, let's go. If we're lucky, we might catch a glimpse of something interesting." We parked the car a little away from the building and approached on foot. As we got closer, the exterior of the building came into view. It was a relatively small 3-story structure, surrounded by darkness with only the light of the stars to rely on. And the only sounds were the loud chirping of insects. Feeling rather foolish and disheartened, Anne and I were saying things like, "This feels pretty stupid, doesn't it?" When suddenly a woman wearing a skirt appeared in the distance. She seemed to glide rather than walk up the exterior staircase that looked like emergency stairs and disappeared inside through a door hanging off its hinges. We were watching from a distance when N, excited, said, "Dude, maybe we can actually see something. Let's go closer quietly." But taken by an ominous feeling from the woman, I found myself saying, "Let's just go back." N wouldn't listen, and eventually, I followed him to the bottom of the emergency staircase. N went up to check it out, planning to give me a signal if there was something worth watching so that I could follow him. I was completely terrified by then, watching as N crept up the stairs, his silhouette trembling in the darkness. When N reached the top and peered inside, he turned to me and whispered, "Hey. There's someone wearing something like a yellow lab coat in the room across. What do you think that could be?" And then he stepped inside. And that's where my memory cuts off completely. The next thing I knew, I was lying alone inside the tent by the river. I couldn't understand what had happened. When I went outside, I saw our car was back, but N was nowhere to be found. Trying to calm down and piece together what had happened just before my memory failed, I couldn't recall anything after N stepped inside the building. It was as though my memory had been cleanly erased. Though we had been drinking, it wasn't enough to black out, as I clearly remembered everything up until that point. Looking at my watch, it was 1:20 a.m. I didn't know where N had gone, and I spent the rest of the night too scared to sleep, shivering in the tent. N's belongings were still in the tent. Though afraid, I mustered the courage to go back to the ruins of the hotel in the daylight. However, neither inside the derelict building nor its surroundings could I find any sign of N. Not knowing what else to do, I went back to Tokyo alone. I contacted friends and N's family, but no one knew where N was. Eventually, I also contacted the police in Y Prefecture. The police questioned me intensively, but I had no answers to give. It's possible the police considered the possibility that I had harmed N, but without any concrete evidence, they couldn't proceed. In the end, N's disappearance was treated as if he had vanished of his own free will, and the matter was left unresolved. 4 years have passed, and N is still missing. Those reading this might not find it particularly frightening, but recalling the experience, I feel so terrified I could cry. What on earth happened? How was the story this time? Was it interesting? Or are you perhaps a bit shaken? Well, truth is stranger than fiction. The sun will rise as usual tomorrow, and something might be silently waiting somewhere in your room. Good night, let's meet in our dreams.